Welcome back, Nightstalkers. I was wondering when you'd finally find your way home. Tonight's nightmare is carved from ice, wrapped in ribbons, and older than any Christmas card you've ever read. A story about doors that open by themselves, drawings that shouldn't be read out loud, and a spirit that isn't supposed to be fed. So dim the lights, lock the windows, and if you ever hear someone asking to be let in, don't answer. Not tonight. A child and an old man walk slowly along a frozen village road, their boots crunching through the thick snow as cold wind drifts between crooked wooden houses. They had spent the afternoon sledding, their laughter still fresh despite numb fingers and frozen cheeks. Tonight was supposed to be simple. Warmth, fire, decorations. A quiet holiday in a quiet place. The child runs ahead, bursting inside their small wooden home, immediately setting about chopping wood and feeding the hungry iron stove. Flames flicker to life, casting long shadows across the walls. His grandfather, worn down by the cold and the long walk. With a tired wave of his hand, he tells the child to decorate the tree, alone, while he rests. Outside, the boy cuts down a thin little fern tree and drags it back inside. He props it up in the corner and decorates it with ornaments and fragile tinsel. The lights hum softly when he plugs them in, bathing the room in a dull yellow glow. When everything is finished, he wakes his grandfather and asks for a story. And so, the old man remembers. He tells of a long-forgotten Christmas night, when he himself was a boy, running through snow and singing a Kolyada carol. Kolyada was more than a song. It was a season and a spirit. In old Slavic tradition, it marked the rebirth of the sun, a time when mass wanderers went from house to house singing for food and warmth. They were not always human, and refusing them could poison the land with bad luck, hunger, and sickness. That same night, walking home through the dark, the boy saw something strange on the front door of his building. A crude, childish drawing had been taped there, showing presents under a Christmas tree. The note read, "Invite me to your New Year's table, and your wishes will come true." He found it interesting, and then stepped inside. The apartment was empty again. His parents weren't home. The air felt heavier without their voices. Instead of going to bed, he dropped his backpack and decided to play video games. Even then, something about the darkness unsettled him. He remembered that there was always a light on in his room, even in the middle of the day, and a fear of the dark he never understood. His bedroom looked ordinary enough. Toys lay scattered across the floor. Old comics were stacked near the bed. Posters hung crookedly on the walls. He walked into the living room, where the Christmas tree was already glowing and dinner sat quietly on the table, ready for tonight's party. He slid a game cartridge into the console and turned on the television.
Походу мне Димка дал бракованный картридж.
The phone rang. There was no one on the line by the time he got to it. Beneath the phone sat a handwritten note from his mother. She and his father had gone to the neighbor's house to borrow extra chairs and would be back later. To keep him busy, they had left behind a small game, a scavenger hunt leading to his Christmas present. He followed the clues, first to his pillow, then to folded laundry in the bathroom, then to his parents' room. In the end, the present hadn't moved at all. It had been waiting under the Christmas tree the entire time. Inside the box was a yellow rabbit doll, wearing a faded purple vest. Every room in the house went dark, except for the television, which continued to glow faintly. The hallway light flickered like it was trying to hold on. This was the moment the old man finally understood why he had feared the dark his entire life. He ran to the phone. The line was dead. He grabbed a lighter from the table and headed for the door, but it wouldn't open when he tried. A voice slipped through the wood from the other side. Merry Christmas. Why didn't you let me in earlier? I missed you. Trembling, the boy hid inside his bedroom closet as footsteps moved through the apartment. Something had entered. The voice returned. You invited me to your holiday table yourself. The boy left the safety of the closet and stepped out into the hallway. A rag doll appeared pinned to the wall, with a note stabbed through its chest. We're old friends, so let's play. If you win again, I'll leave. But if you lose, I'll take your soul. Now put the puzzle together. The crayon doodle pinned to the doll wasn't random. The torn paper showed crooked cabinets. The message was clear enough. The kitchen held the next piece. The boy crept down the darkened hallway, every floorboard whining under his feet. The cabinets were too high for him to reach. He turned back towards the living room, searching for anything he could use to climb. That was when something rolled across the floor. A doll's head slipped out from beneath the table. And somewhere in the shadows, a baby began to cry. Slow, wet sobs that didn't sound human. Heart hammering, the boy dragged over a small stool and climbed just high enough to reach into the cabinet and grab the plastic button. Footsteps sounded directly behind him. And when he turned around, he saw it. Something tall, twisted, a black dog demon, a jackal. The thing vanished before he could even scream, but the house wasn't done with him. Still in the kitchen, he noticed another shape hiding under a table. A doll with a cracked clown mask was crouching there, its mouth frozen in a silent laugh. The source of the crying, no doubt, waiting, watching. Clutching the puzzle piece, the boy stumbled back to the wall where the rag doll was pinned. He pressed the button eye into the hollow space where it belonged. That was when the bathroom door drifted open by itself. A thick red light poured out, bleeding across the floor like spilled paint. The room beyond looked like a child's nightmare brought to life. Dolls twisted apart, dismembered toys, staring back with dead eyes. And then the doorway vanished. the exit was simply gone. Words began to scratch themselves into the walls. You promised. You said you would come. You said you would take me away. You're the one who invited me in. Why didn't you let me in? Someone is sitting under the Christmas tree. You won't wake up again. The snow is turning red beneath my feet. As the final sentence appeared, childish Christmas drawings bloomed across the wallpaper. Smiling snowmen, crooked Santa, faceless carolers. All smeared and warped. A sharp knock echoed through the room. Something was peering in through the bathroom window. The door reappeared and the boy ran out. If darkness gave the thing power, then light had to be the answer. Room by room, he began flipping every switch in the house, forcing bulbs to flicker back to life. The shadows pulled back just enough to breathe, but it never stayed. Lights flicked off as quickly as he turned them on, and then he heard movement. The thing he saw in the window was in the kitchen again. He bolted down the hallway, but something had changed. The air felt heavier, the walls felt closer, and then he saw the note on the furniture blocking the way ahead of him. Don't look up. His eyes betrayed him. Above, from a small storage nook in the ceiling, a monstrous hand dangled. He moved through the rest of the house, forcing light back into every room he could. But as the final switch clicked on, the bulbs throughout the house began to burst one by one. Glass rains, sparks hissed, darkness swallowed everything again. That was when he remembered the candles. His parents kept them hidden away in their bedroom. If he couldn't defeat the dark with electricity, he would fight it with fire. The boy began to light a candle in every room, pulling them one by one from the box and carrying them throughout the house. The thing waited in every corner, every doorway, every reflection in glass. Sometimes it looked like a dog made of shadow, sometimes like a twisted toy, sometimes like a smiling bunny. It watched him struggle. After 3 rooms were finally lit, the closet doors slammed shut by themselves. Chains rattled. A new riddle appeared. A small, broken music box sat waiting in his room, locked, silent. The key was missing. The answer lay in small, hateful tasks. A snowman figurine hidden in the bathroom, a winding key buried deep in his parents' room, and every step of the way, he was hunted. And the game wasn't finished yet. With the key clenched tight in his shaking hand, the boy slipped back into the hallway, moving as quietly as a heartbeat. The kitchen was blocked, so he turned instead towards the washroom, and then the toilet room. One by one, he lit the candles. The shadows recoiled, but not far enough. When the way to the kitchen finally opened, he stepped forward with the last candle clutched like a holy relic. This was it. This had to be it. The air tasted like rust and ozone as he placed the candle down and coaxed the flame to life. For a moment, nothing happened. The red glow returned. A distorted voice crawled through the walls like a disease. Not from the ceiling, not from the shadows, but from the television. The boy froze, and then remembered the antenna. He sprinted back to his bedroom. He snatched the antenna, raced back down the hall, and jammed it into the back of the TV with shaking hands. The static twisted. The voice became clearer. You defeated me today, but I'll be back. You're the one who invited me. The screen flickered and suddenly the horror vanished. A home video began to play. Two small children in the year 2004 standing awkwardly in front of a decorated tree, singing the old song, "A Spruce Was Born in the Forest." The front door unlocked. Footsteps. The boy's mother returned home. And just like that, the nightmare was over. Now before we finish this twisted little Christmas memory, if you're enjoying these deep dives into cursed folklore and forgotten horror games, make sure you like the video and subscribe. It tells the algorithm you want to keep walking through the dark with me, and it helps this channel grow strong enough to survive in it. Now, let's finish the story. The grandfather told the boy that when his parents returned, there was no broken furniture, no shattered glass, no scribbles on the walls, no proof, nothing. To this day, he doesn't know if what he lived through was real, or if his terrified mind created a monster to survive the dark. The child, pale and shaken, asked him the only question that mattered. Was it just a story? The old man answered softly, "What matters is that you never invite someone you can't see to your table, not even as a joke." In Slavic folklore, there are spirits meant to be welcome at the holiday table. Most commonly, they're known as jadi, the ancestral spirits who wander close during the winter months, waiting to be remembered. But there is another name, whispered far more quietly: Kolyada. Kolyada, the winter guest. Not a kind spirit, not a gentle ancestor, but something else. A shadow that wears the mask of a lost traveler, and if you refuse it, it curses your home. But in this story, the horror is twisted, because the tragedy didn't happen when the boy refused the guest. It happened when he invited it in. The developer, Ivan, twisted this old folklore into something far crueler. Young Grandpa didn't see a demon. He saw a friend, an imaginary playmate that wore the shapes of festive toys. A dog, a snowman, a gingerbread man, a smiling bunny. Not monsters, but disguises. During the winter solstice, when the veil between the worlds grows thin, Kolyada returns, and it doesn't knock. It doesn't ask. It comes back because it was once welcome. The light can drive it away. The candles can scare it off. But once a spirit like that latches onto you, it never really leaves. So remember this, Nightstalkers. If a lost traveler ever stands at your door on a winter's night, if a strange note asks to be invited, if something unseen asks for a seat at your table, don't answer, don't invite, don't make room. From my dark corner of the web to yours, farewell, Nightstalkers. Until the next night.